Hello, everyone. I am Joe Furlong, and welcome to the inaugural episode of the AiCR Exchange. With me today is the magnificent Kelly Granillo. She heads up all of AiCR's marketing, as well as the overall MIAC enterprise. Hello, Kelly.
Hey, Joe. Happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you here. Excited to have this first edition talking about all of our AiCR marketing. With that being said, it's been a crazy last year. I remember when we first sat down putting together the plans for what we want to do for the AiCR marketing, and really looking back and then seeing what we actually execute. It's been crazy. I'd love to hear from your point of view. What's your thoughts? What did you do? What went through your head?
Yeah, absolutely. So, just to quickly introduce myself, like you said, I had all the marketing for AiCR, and pretty much been here, with the company for a while now. I actually worked with MIAC's due diligence team for a while as a data entry analyst. So I know a lot of the pain that AiCR's target market deals with, that document pain. So it's really easy to kind of do the marketing for a product like AiCR, knowing that pain. So that's kind of my job, is to translate what AiCR does, why it exists, to our target audience. So having that great foundation, with MIAC, it's really fun and interesting to be able to create the AiCR brand and have that stand out on its own. So, and Joe, I know you can talk about how it's been a really cool year, just, navigating that new brand and trying to figure out, what works and what doesn't work. I think we've come a long way in figuring out our strategy. I was kind of looking back at everything that we've done, and I think it starts first with our messaging, right? And what kind of tone we want to come out with. And we decided right out of the gate, and I think we made the right choice, just sticking with plain spoken. Just tone. So, in the world of AI, where there's so many different, products popping up every single day, we don't want to get bogged down with the AI hype, right? So just speaking about the problem, especially that we do know that problem, that document burden and these operational bottlenecks, we're just going to speak plainly to that. So, I think I can remember the day that we all sat down and you said, "Yeah, I want to be plain spoken and I don't want to have any technical jargon." So I think that was a great first foundation for our tone and our brand.
I agree. That really kind of set the tone. Too often when you speak to folks, market folks, you read these market materials and it's all full of gobbledygook. You don't even read it because you don't understand the message. I remember sitting down with you saying a couple things. I said, Kelly, I want to try something really different. I want to throw stuff on the wall. Some of it's going to work, some of it's not. It doesn't matter. Let's give it a shot. Let's try to be as engaged as we can. Frankly, it was a lot different than what we have done enterprise wide for a long time. So tell me a little bit more about how you made that transition from the traditional marketing to the wild and crazy of AiCR.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. So, once we established our tone and brand being, that plain spoken, it was a lot about, just doing more, or stepping away from a lot of the traditional mediums that we have done in the past. So there was a lot of conversation of moving to, videos, right? And kind of just exploring those avenues and bringing our messaging into more concise messaging rather than kind of these long messages. So, a lot of our messaging kind of has become a lot more concise. We've done a lot of just, using, we were just talking about using AI and bringing that into our strategy. And there was a lot of conversations of, hey, is this something we should try? Is it something that's going to work? And I would say there's a lot of uncertainty too, but I think as a team, we got through it. And there was, even down to our website. So our website is www.acre.io, and there is, I think we took it to a vote, right? And we were unsure, is it .com or is it .io? So it was truly every single decision we made. It seems like we were going away from traditional, right? So again, we were leaning into AI for content creation, using even different messaging for different campaigns, doing videos, a lot of A/B testing. I think in 2026, if your strategy can't adapt, it's not going to be successful. So we've done a lot to kind of change our strategy from what we've done in the past.
So let's talk about the things that we've done over the last year. What do you feel was the most successful and why? And what was the biggest failure in your viewpoint?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think definitely, because we're again, Acre is still, pretty new in the marketplace. We're still navigating and we were still in the last year, figuring out, right, our brand and what works and what doesn't work. So I think a lot of our what has worked, I think, is the directness and the tone for us. The plain spoken tone works for us, and being direct. I think, what hasn't worked for us has been maybe some of the themes. I think we've talked about, we've put out some videos that we thought like, oh man, this is really going to work, right? And then it just completely doesn't.
Can I
Um,
can I tell you my biggest failure on that one?
Absolutely,
This
absolutely.
this drives me crazy. I was so excited about it. Uh, Speaking with my wife, and she came up with this idea because I wanted to run the Declaration of Independence through Acre, which I did. And she says we should parlay the National Treasure movie with Nicolas Cage. I got to steal the Declaration of Independence and then show that and
Yeah.
show Acre how it extracts. I thought it was great. It
Mhm.
did not engage at all. Like no one cared about it, and I was like
Yeah.
so bummed over that. I was so bummed,
Yeah.
but I'm glad we tried. That was the thing, is just trying new and different things and seeing what worked and what didn't. Um, but so is there anything particular that in your view was your favorite thing that you did this year?
I think, okay, for me, I think bringing in a lot of the culture stuff. I know it's not necessarily, towards, product specific, but in terms of the brand in general, I don't want, Acre to seem like it's just there's no one behind it. There is a team behind it, right? So bringing that element into whether it's our timeline or our website, I do love, just a lot of those are some of my favorite pieces that we have put out, are those, culture pieces that, hey, this is the team. And, those have been some of my favorite. And I think it's been responded to pretty well. And I appreciate your post too. I think leaning into pop culture, that's been a topic for the marketing team as well, is using that too. And that's kind of shifting away from the traditional as well. So for me, some of my favorite stuff, to answer your question, like I said, is bringing in the culture, like, hey, this is the team, and then also just, hey, pop culture, whether it's a funny meme that kind of makes you laugh, but it sticks in your mind, like, hey, Acre had that really funny, post, or hey, Acre had this crazy, crazy shirt day. I think I'm proud of those kind of posts that we put out.
That's fantastic. Just on my side, because obviously I do a lot of posting on my channel as well, obviously in conjunction with you quite a bit. My favorite thing, and it's actually I'm very proud that I got the biggest thing is my Joe the Office Hero. It's my depiction of myself as a South Park character. And now I have had 2 episodes, and I'll probably have more to come this year. I think it's a lot of fun doing that. It's something different and bizarre, and why not
Exactly.
have fun? Yeah, So I remember when I first sat down with you, you kind of detailed the direction at a high level. Like, okay, when we're doing this marketing outreach, there has to be some culture, like you said, some serious, some thought leadership, all this other stuff. Can you talk about how you crafted those different tones, those different things, and where you felt was best executed on those?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely important to have different um messaging strategies or uh different tones when you're when you're having different messaging. So for example, if you're having, a culture post, you don't need to speak, you don't have to use tone that you would use if you're speaking to an operations leader. You can have a little bit more relaxed tone, right? But if you're having a thought leadership article, you might want to be a little more mindful of how you use certain words or your tone, and it'll actually affect how people respond to your content. So and that kind of brings me into also AEO, SEO, keywords, right? And that matters in this
I didn't even know what
information.
AEO stood for a week ago. So let's take a
Yeah.
second. Let's actually educate people, because I did literally a week ago. I had no idea what AEO stood for. So
Yes,
could you take a
yes.
second and talk about it?
AEO is answer engine optimization. The best way I can describe it is how you would show up on ChatGPT, on a Gemini, on these answer engine optimization that answer engines, excuse me, that everyone is using now. And everyone now is asking questions. Before, if you wanted to find a pizza shop, you would just Google pizza. Now you Google what is the best pizza, right? So we need to tailor our messaging around that. So the AiCR team, we're developing a strategy for that. Our thought leadership article right now, we're not thinking about topics. We're thinking about what questions are we answering. Also, not only just thought leadership articles, but content in general, right? I think 2026 people want information and people want it fast. If you can get it in snippets where you answer the question, whether it's in the first paragraph or the first few minutes or the first few seconds of a video, that's what people want. People are really, really dying for information. So that's definitely you want to consider that in all of your messaging. So that's kind of what I was talking about before, is just you want to that's the way to be successful in your messaging, is kind of being thoughtful and saying, well, who are we talking to, or what's the medium, um, what's what's the purpose for this message that we're working on.
That's fantastic.
Mhm.
So let's kind of shift slightly, and let's talk about what you do on the MIAC side. It is our parent organization. We can't just ignore it. Obviously, the approach is a lot different on the MIAC side, but I actually see it under your leadership on the marketing side is shifting a little bit. Can you tell me about what you're planning on or what you have done on the MIAC side?
Yeah, I think again with MIAC, it's they've been around for almost 4 decades, and I think there's a lot of foundational marketing that has been done on MIAC. I think same thing that MIAC had, because they've been around for so long. There's a lot of subject matter experts. I've been talking to a lot of the department heads, just trying to see what we can put out in terms of thought leadership or conversations like this, getting more face to face time, whether it's something like this, the AiCR Exchange, just getting conversations out, whether it's our newsletters or getting our website up to date, just so people will know um, what we do and how important it is. Because, like I said, we've been around for so long on the MIAC side. People should know much quicker what we do and how we help. So for MIAC, definitely be on the lookout. I think, again, you'll see the different types of videos and content types. Again, we definitely, they're two different brands. They're still under the same world, but we're definitely excited. I'm excited to see MIAC again, um, come into 2026 and with the updates that we have.
That's wonderful. I know going to conferences has always been a core part of what MIAC does, and frankly, what the industry does. It seems like we always go to these conferences to varying times of the year and whatnot. And since it's such a big part of our world and how we market, how we get this outreach, I mean, it seems like the conference world has been going on pretty much the same way for a very long time. Um, what is your thought? Is it going to continue to stay in the same kind of mode, or do you feel like we're going to try to do something different with it, or maybe have more attendance, maybe sponsor something, do something different? Can you tell me about any of your thoughts about what you want to do around the conferences on both sides?
Yeah, I think, for conferences, I think it's for us personally, I think it's still a lot of figuring out what's right for AiCR and for MIAC, what's right in terms of, should we, have a booth, right? Booths, are they a 2026 thing? Are they a thing of the past even? I think we're still kind of deciding, or is it just, for the right one? I think it's coming down to, should we participate in a bigger sense, right? Is it a speaking engagement versus a booth, or is it a demo day, right, where we showcase one of our products instead of a booth? I think those are the kind of questions that we're going to um, come across when it comes to conferences this year. Of course, attending, right, the right ones. We're always going to attend. I think that's it's necessary, right? Shaking
Yeah.
hands and meeting people face to face always. But in terms of, booths, I think, yeah, there's still some conversation. I'd love to see an AiCR booth and MIAC booth still, but I think it has to be the right one. But definitely, you will see AiCR and MIAC for sure in the industry conferences in 2026. Absolutely, it's necessary.
I agree. It's just one of those things. It's been a staple for decades. It will continue to be a staple. But I think it's, to your point, it has to be really selective on which ones we attend. So let's kind of pivot to the future. Um, what do you have in mind in 2026? I know we've done a lot of testing on 2025, and that's why we did some crazy stuff. Again, some of the stuff it worked, some stuff it didn't. And I know some of the crazy stuff. I still want to do it. I like being out there. I want to, I think it's fun. I think if we're going to do something, let's be fun about it. So, from your point of view, what do you see happening this coming year?
Yeah, so for 2026, AiCR, I mean, I think, again, like I was saying, 2026, our audiences, people want information, people want sort of conversation as well. So I'm really, really excited for the AiCR Exchange. Maybe initially to only facilitate communication internally to start, but then also with our industry peers. But I think the hope is to bring our insight to the marketplace. I think that is something that is a big goal for 2026, for AiCR, is to bring our insight to the marketplace through our thought leadership articles, right? Answering those questions that people have, whether that be operational bottlenecks or about our technology, right? Um, I think also one thing we didn't talk about that we've tried is, and that we will be doing in 2026 is commercials. You know, that's something that we're really interested in. So that's something that we're going to be trying out as well. So I'm really, really excited to get into that and seeing, you know, just how it's going to work out for us. I'm really excited to get into that market, just expanding our video content. Also, like I said, AEO, expanding our website, just making it more of a knowledge base for people to come to. Um, and yeah, just having a lot more content, becoming a more known, obviously, brand. Um, we're still, you know, new, but again, just gaining the trust of the marketplace and becoming known, that's going to be our job for 2026. So obviously being consistent with just putting our name out there and communicating with our audience is the goal, you know, for 2026.
That's awesome. So, Kelly, this conversation today was wonderful. Appreciate your insight of everything you've given, and looking forward to it. So, everyone, the AiCR Exchange is our inaugural episode. Really enjoyed it. It's going to be anywhere from 15, 30 minutes. But it's going to be the second and fourth Tuesday of the month at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to be just talking to whoever we feel like talking to. Interesting people. It doesn't have to deal with the MIAC or the AiCR world at all. For example, the next episode, which is coming on the 27th, I'm interviewing a gentleman by the name of Eric Dunham. He's been in the commercial lending space for decades. And he'll be talking to us about SBA lending, which is actually really an important topic because ultimately everyone hears about SBA lending, but a lot of times people don't know exactly what it does. And he'll give us the inside skinny on it. So please join us on the 27th at 12 o'clock for that. If you can, please like the AiCR page, connect with me on LinkedIn, and please connect with Kelly. Until next time, I really appreciate everyone's efforts and time today, and see you soon.
Thanks. Bye.